For decades now, America has used sanctions to fight and defeat regimes that cause geopolitical tensions. Syria, North Korea, Cuba, Iran, and of course, Russia. Sanctions on Russia aren't random punishments. They are calculated pressure applied slowly, like tightening a vice. At the center of it is the annexation of Crimea. When Russia took Crimea from Ukraine, it broke a core rule of the modern world. Borders aren't supposed to move by force. That was the first crack. The response wasn't war, it was isolation. Financial systems tightened, trade channels narrowed. The message was simple: you can keep the land, but it will cost you everything else. Then came the full escalation, the Russian-Ukraine invasion. This wasn't a shadow move, it was loud and undeniable. Tanks crossed borders, missiles flew, and the world reacted in unison, not with bullets, but with economic suffocation. Sanctions hit in layers. Russian banks were cut off from global systems, access to foreign currency choked, and wealth became unstable. Critical imports, technology, machinery, microchips became restricted, making sure Russia couldn't rebuild. Russia's lifeline, oil and gas, became a battleground. Buyers didn't fully walk away, but they forced the discounts, draining power quietly. Oligarchs, once untouchable, found assets frozen, yachts seized, and movement restricted. The inner circle was attacked. Sanctions are designed to do something war often fails to do: turn time into a weapon. No explosions, just slow erosion. Sanctions aren't about just stopping Russia, they are about signaling to every other country watching, this is the price of crossing certain lines. It's deterrence dressed as punishment. And Russia, it doesn't collapse, it adapts. How? Russia doesn't answer sanctions head on. It sidesteps, bends, and turns the pressure into something usable, quietly, methodically. After the invasion of Ukraine, the expectation was collapse. Instead, Russia shifted. First, shadow trade networks. When the West closed doors, Russia built corridors. Oil that couldn't go to Europe flowed toward China and India, not cleanly, through intermediaries, rebranded shipments, and ghost fleet tankers operating in legal zones. The price dropped, but the volume kept the system alive. Revenue didn't vanish, it just became harder to trace. Second, weaponizing dependence. Before the break, Europe relied heavily on Russian energy. Moscow used that leverage early, cutting or restricting gas flows to create spikes, uncertainty, and political pressure. Even after Europe diversified, the message stuck: energy can be a lever. Third, financial rerouting. Cut off from Western systems, Russia leaned into alternatives. It strengthened ties with non-Western banks, expanded use of its own payment infrastructure, and pushed transactions in local currencies instead of dollars. The global system didn't disappear, it fragmented, and Russia carved out a lane inside that fragmentation. Fourth, domestic substitution. Sanctions aim to starve a country of critical imports. Russia responded by forcing internal production, sometimes inefficient, often lower quality, but functional. Parallel imports filled gaps. Goods enter through third countries, relabeled and redirected. Fifth, alliances without loyalty. Russia didn't need friends, it needed participants. Countries that wouldn't openly defy sanctions still found ways to trade, invest, or stay neutral. The global south, parts of Asia, the Middle East, and spaces where Western pressure has limits. Sanctions rely on time, so does Russia. It runs a wartime economy, prioritizing survival over efficiency. Military spending rises, civilian sectors adapt, and the state absorbs more control. It's not about thriving, but enduring longer than the pressure lasts. But there's a trade-off beneath all this. Russia hasn't beaten sanctions, it has absorbed them. Growth is constrained, technology access is thinner, the economy is more isolated and more dependent on fewer partners. It survives, but it's narrow.